All right, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm hoping it's all good. My name is Greg Lewis. I'm the marketing manager for MetaStock, and this is a live MetaStock webinar, and you're so very welcome for joining us. Today's speaker is going to be our very own Jeff Gibby. He has in the past spoken about the gems of MetaStock, and now he has a new presentation called More Gems of MetaStock. So it's just like the other presentation, but it's more, which is awesome. Jeff is a great speaker. If anybody's come to our webinars before, you probably know him and love him like all of us. So I don't see him yet in the GoToWebinar room, so I'm hoping Jeff actually makes it today. But in the meantime, go ahead to make sure and like and subscribe and let us know how we're doing by commenting and asking questions and all that stuff. Also, I apologize, we're sort of losing some of the studio magic back here. My green screen's not cooperating for some reason. Oh no, So, all right, hey, MetaStock, I got a video about it right now.
Hi there, Greg Lewis, MetaStock Software. As the marketing director, I get asked all the time, what is MetaStock? How can I help my trades? Well, stick around for about 3 minutes and I'll tell you. MetaStock is an award-winning software and data package that has been helping traders for over 35 years. Simply put, MetaStock is a tool for traders like you to analyze the markets. MetaStock helps you take the guesswork out of trading by offering a methodical, systematic approach to some key questions all traders come up against. Questions like, how do I decide which securities to trade when there are literally thousands to choose from? Which strategy should I use, and how do I test that strategy before spending my first trading dollar? When should I enter and exit a trade? How can I effectively manage the securities I'm interested in? And of course, how do I know where prices will go next? At the core of MetaStock are the Power Tools. The Power Tools give professional-grade analysis tools to private traders like you and me. You can scan the market with the MetaStock Explorer to filter and sort securities that show buy and sell signals based on your criteria. The MetaStock System Tester lets you test most strategies through a process called backtesting, which allows you to see how your strategy would have performed over time. You can easily manage and monitor the securities you are interested in with Quote Center. Quote Center lets you sort on a variety of criteria to view the data that's important to you. Then just double-click on a security if you want to see its chart. With the MetaStock Forecaster, you can even take advantage of patented technology to view probable future prices. If you're an options trader, you're going to love MetaStock's Option Scope. Option Scope puts all the critical info at your fingertips, displaying sortable, customizable, color-coded options data, including the Greeks. And MetaStock has solutions for traders of all levels and interests. If you're just getting into trading, you will appreciate the education offered by our many built-in systems. In addition to pointing out buy and sell signals, MetaStock explains how they work in an easy-to-follow commentary window. MetaStock has built-in systems based on popular strategies like MACD, Bollinger Bands, turtle trading, candlesticks, and many more. MetaStock even has the very popular and exclusive Rahul Mohindar oscillator system, or simply known as the RMO. And as you become a more experienced trader, MetaStock grows with you. Advanced analysts will enjoy the comprehensive list of trading systems and indicators, and the ability to build their own systems. And if you're a day trader, you can't do better than Zenith, the real-time news, data, and analysis package offered by Refinitiv, a world leader in market data. Add on the world-class support, and it's not hard to see why MetaStock has won the Stocks and Commodities Reader's Choice Award for 26 consecutive years. To find out more about MetaStock and how it can help your trading, visit metastock.com or contact a product professional via phone, email, or chat.
All right, thanks so much for watching that. If you have any questions about MetaStock during the day, during this broadcasts, I should say, chat them in, because that's what Jeff's going to be talking about, and he is one of the world's leading authorities on MetaStock. As a matter of fact, Jeff is pretty darn expert at trading generally, and it's taught me a lot over the years. So I know you're going to enjoy this. If you have any questions at all about MetaStock during the presentation, ask away. He will be monitoring chat on both here on here on YouTube and in GoToWebinar. And yeah, it should be great. There's something I want to tell you about. We have a traders conference coming up in just a few weeks. It is from November 6th until November 12th. Let me show it to you. This is an event we do about once a quarter. It has, as you can see here, 5 whole days, 6 days actually, excuse me, from November 6th till November 11th, 40 plus speakers. I believe there's 43 this time, and all kinds of names that you know, and probably some you don't. We just launched this like just this morning, so it's brand new. But if you go here, you can go ahead and register at the bottom and go ahead and attend, and it is free. The price is free, but the information is priceless. So go to metastock.com/traders-conference. I'll go ahead and throw that up in the chat as soon as we get started. And yeah, Traders Conference, metastock.com/traders-conference. Let's go back to me. All right, Jeff is now live and ready to go. Once again, I do encourage you when we start in 3 minutes to go ahead and like and subscribe and say hello. Oh, I see we have some people coming on now. Hello, Sterling. Thank you so much for saying hello. And hello, MetaStock Webinars, Jeff Gibby, hello. Hey, while you're coming on, don't hesitate. This is a very casual setup, by the way. When you're coming on, don't hesitate to say hello. Let us know where you're from. Again, chat away, ask questions. And don't forget, I love pushing that button, to like and subscribe. If you like it. If you don't like it, let us know and let us know why. Just be nice, please. All right, well, we still have a few minutes. I think that's all there was for me to talk about. Once again, Traders Conference, metastock.com/traders-conference. 5 days of trading goodness you don't want to miss. So make sure you are there for that. All right, I think for the next couple of minutes, I'll go ahead and let you listen to some jazzy music until we are ready to start in 2 minutes. Hello, Mr. Gibby. Can you hear me okay?
Hello, Greg. Yep. Should I
Oh,
go ahead and start?
well, let me, I guess I can introduce you, then you can do the disclosure? Or does it have to go the other way around?
Sure.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I've
just
got
wanted
that
to take a
memorized.
second to introduce Mr. Gibby. It's always awful when somebody has to introduce themselves. So I took this opportunity to do a fly-in and introduce Gibby, and I'll fly right back out. Jeff's been with the company, I never remember, it's been at least 27 years.
I believe that is correct. I have to check my LinkedIn. It's hard for me to remember too,
Yeah.
Greg.
Well, I've been here 18 years, coming on 19, and Jeff was an old man when I got here. So he's so old now. But as I was mentioning before the broadcast, he's one of the leading authorities on MetaStock. He's a great trader. He's taught me a lot. He's a great guy and a great presenter and a great father, and he's got 2 great dogs. And what better can you say of somebody than they're a great father with 2 great dogs? Is
You can also
there
talk about
higher
the 7
praise?
chickens.
Well, okay. And Jeff today is going to be talking about the more hidden gems to MetaStock. Excuse me, hidden gems 2. We're very excited. Jeff, I'll go ahead and get it out of your way, and you can do the disclosure. Have fun today, sir.
All right. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate that. Good introduction. Today, we're going to be brief. I'm going to get straight to it today. I do need to read a legal disclaimer and just kind of talk a little bit about today's class. So today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software plugins. It is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions used. Oh, I almost got through it with it without even checking. Based on the use of the software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. So with that being said, good morning. I hope you guys can all hear me. Let me know if the audio is weak or if it sounds poor or anything like that. Hello, Neil. Hello, Sterling. If you're watching, make sure to say hello. If you have questions as we go, make sure to ask them. And as Greg said, I'm Jeff Gibby. So, and 27 years. Let me kind of just tell you about, I'm going to kind of let you read this while I kind of just talk about today's class. One of the classes that I did a few years ago was called Hidden Gems. And in that, I talked about some of my hidden, well, they're not really hidden. They're right there if you want to use them. But some of the things in MetaStock that you may or may not be aware of that I really like. And I was kind of presenting that, and one of our friends, Scott, up in Canada, actually, and Scott, if you end up watching the video, make sure to say hi in either the comments or if you're watching now, say hi. But he's like, there's so many different things in MetaStock that you should kind of highlight. Maybe you can make this Hidden Gems into a series. So in case you missed Hidden Gem 1s, we talked about the dynamic trading tools, the RMO method, and the Higuro, and it's up on our YouTube channel. But as I was kind of getting ready for this one, this is the first time I've ever talked about these tools. But these are other things that I like to show people when I'm out and about. As Greg said, I've worked here at MetaStock for years, decades. It would be more appropriate, almost 3 of them. And I like MetaStock because it is such a well-refined product. There's so many things. In fact, some of the things I'm going to show you today are things that you can get in other products that are like $2,000, but they're just included for MetaStock for free. And the one thing that I always talk about with MetaStock is I feel like it's a software product that you just never grow out of. You may not even be aware of the fact that these are available in your MetaStock program if you're using MetaStock now. And then you're going to just be like, oh, I didn't know I could even do that. And that's pretty cool. So with that being said, I hope you had a chance to read these slides. In any case, one of the things I do like to talk about is if you haven't heard of MetaStock, welcome to the channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. We do lots of really good guests. I'll talk a little bit about some events we've got going up in just a second. But make sure to like and subscribe. It helps us a great deal. But we do lots of market recaps. We do lots of guest experts. We do a lot of market-related material. And so join our YouTube channel. Hit the like button if you haven't already. So the one thing I do like to talk about, because I think I got a little bit off task there, is we are very proud of the fact for 30 years in a row, MetaStock's been rated the #1 software program by the readers of Stocks and Commodities magazine. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. And kind of funny side note, I wrote a description for what I was going to talk about, and that's typical. I'll kind of have an idea of what I want to talk about, and then I'll kind of prepare the slides around it. And so several weeks ago, I kind of wrote the descriptions where we're going to talk about the adaptive cycle toolkit, the Elliott wave analysis, parts of MetaStock, and candlesticks. And I was getting ready last week to kind of get the presentation. I was preparing my slides, and I came back and I said, I'm going to talk about all of that. And I am from a very, very high level. What I want you to understand is I could talk for a long time on Elliott waves. I could talk for a long time about adaptive cycle toolkit, and I could talk for a long time about candlesticks. And I'm not going to spend 3 or 4 or 5 hours today. I want to keep things really compact. My goal for this class is, if you're using MetaStock, you haven't played with these before, and you find them interesting, that you go ahead and kind of know where they're at, know how to get to them, and all of that kind of stuff. And normally when I come in, if you're new to MetaStock, normally we talk about kind of the tools, the power tools of our program, like why it's been rated so well, the scanning and all that kind of good stuff. If you're new to MetaStock, I'd recommend you go up to our YouTube channel and look at the what is MetaStock video. It's about 3 minutes long, and it does a really good job of talking about kind of like from a high level what MetaStock is. So, but for this class, I'm really kind of more gearing towards our active users. Again, what I want to do is, if you don't play with this stuff and you do find it interesting, this is stuff that's available to you already. So let's go ahead and get started. And I am doing it, if you read the description, I'm doing it in reverse order because, I thought it would be more interesting if I talked about candlesticks first, and then went to Elliott wave, and then went to the adaptive cycle toolkit. So I'll do my best to cover all of it. I'm going to try and kind of get through everything in about 20 minutes or less. So the budget I've got in terms of time for today's webinar is 1 hour. So, and again, I could talk, I probably would have to prepare quite a bit, but these are pretty deep subjects. So I just want you to know we're going to be scratching the surfaces of what's in there and that kind of stuff. I want to point you in the direction that's there. Okay. So let's first talk about the candlestick patterns. And I don't want you to confuse this with all of the advanced patterns that we wrote with Steve Bigelow. Those are Steve's patterns, and they do a really good job of identifying Steve's patterns. And I feel that particular add-on is one of the best add-ons we've ever created. But in MetaStock, since I started 30 years ago, we did have some candle pattern identification that would go in there. And typically what we're talking about with these candle patterns are the very popular candle patterns. There's about 31 of them. It comes with an expert advisor. Comes with commentary, it comes with scans. And so I just want to show you what they are. This is something that I like to show people when I'm kind of with them, if I'm talking to somebody at a trade show and I kind of want to give them an idea of what the expert advisor can do and kind of how it works and how it can be helpful in helping understand different things. This is a great example. Whenever I'm talking about how powerful our expert advisor is, I usually show them the expert advisor that's called CandleStick. So without further ado, let's kind of jump in over there, and I'll just show you. Oh, look at that. There's Greg. Okay, let's jump over there. And what I'm going to do, I've actually kind of, as we got ready, let me go ahead and just close out a couple of these charts, and we'll kind of just show you what the candlestick experts looks like. So what I'm going to do here is I'll open up a new chart. It might still be open, but it doesn't matter that much. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the chart called DIA. Okay, which is the Dow ETF. Okay, and I'm going to come in here, and what I'm going to do for this one is I'm just going to go with with a clean template. So what I want to be looking at is just the chart for now. Okay, and there we go. Okay, let me go ahead and kind of zoom in a little bit. No. And of course, we're going to talk about candlesticks. So I'm going to change it to a candlestick chart. So that might be important. So just double click on here. It's really easy to change stuff around in MetaStock. Anytime I want to change something, if I double click on it, it'll allow me to change it. And I'm just going to go here, double click. I'm going to go to candlesticks. There's also candle volume, which is kind of interesting. If you want, it just makes your bars a bit fatter if there's more volume. And so you have skinny bars and fat bars, and you can very visually see how much activity happened on a bar if you look at candles volume. But I'm going to go with candlesticks. And actually what I want to do is I want to do the default colors, because I think the default colors are pretty nice. You go ahead and click on OK, and I'm just going to have a candle chart. Okay. Now I want to turn on the candle pattern identification. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on this guy right here in a bolo hat, but it used to be a top hat. I guess experts today are wearing more bolo hats, so we updated that a few versions ago. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and this is what we call our expert advisor. Hey, Bethel, good to see you. Thanks for saying hi. All right, so what I'm going to do here, the expert advisor is going to do a number of things depending on the expert explains to you, but the expert advisor is pretty good about explaining stuff that happens on a chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to find the candlestick expert here, and I'm going to go ahead and attach it, and this is just included with MetaStock. There's no additional charge for it, and I'll go ahead and click on close right here. Okay, maybe I did something wrong. Oh, let me try attach it. Okay, close. I guess I didn't click the attach button very well. Okay. Now you'll notice as soon as I did that, if you're familiar with candlestick patterns, yesterday, or 2 days ago, we had kind of a narrow range bar, almost a doji, not enough to for this to call it a doji, but almost a bit of a doji bar, followed by a bar that opened above the close of the previous bar, and had a negative day all day, sold off, closed below. Basically, 2 days ago was a complete like a little bit of a bullish doji day. And I'm just saying bullish because the close was above the open. Yesterday we had an open above that close, but a completely engulfing candle. So it opened above, closed below, which is why it's red and why it's filled in. Okay, and that would be what would be called, if you're not familiar with candlesticks, engulfing bearish pattern. And you can also see right here, it says engulfing bearish pattern. We had another one of those. And the doji is not important. A bearish engulfing is any time that you have a bearish candle. That means the bearish defined by the open being below the close. So yeah, I said that right. No, the open being above the close. So it opened positive, or it opened and then sold negative all day. So the open being below the close and totally engulfing the bar. That's called an engulfing bar. Okay, and so you can see a couple of instances where that's automatically labeled here for you. Here you had a falling window. Here you had another engulfing bear. Here you had another falling window. And if I scan out a little bit, or if I zoom out, you'll notice that quite a number of different patterns are being labeled. So right here, you've got that engulfing ball. You've got the rising window. The rising window here, you had an engulfing ball and an inverted hammer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So all of these are going to be annotated for you. The other thing that I like is with our commentary, the expert advisor does a commentary in there. But with the commentary, if I want to be able to know what that engulfing bear was, I can open up a commentary window. I can put it on the screen. Let's go ahead and just do it. I'm going to go ahead and click on View, Expert Commentary right here. And when I do that, just notice that there's a little bit of a red triangle here. And it's pointing straight down at today. It's always going to start at the most current day. If I go back one bar, if we go here, just back one day, it's going to actually tell me. So initially, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you so you can see it. And you can read along with me here. The first thing it does is kind of give me a summary. Today we have a black body because prices closed lower than they opened. And during the last 10 bars, there have been 3 white candles and 7 black candles for a net of 4 black candles. So there's a little bit of a trend analysis, if you would. During the past 50 bars, there have been 20 white candles and 30 black candles for a net of 10 black candles. Just kind of giving you an idea. If we look at this over the last 50 days, prices have been falling. And it's kind of doing a candle count and telling us how many bullish candles we had, or how many open candles we have versus how many closed, how many black, how many versus how many white, or in the case of the colors that I've got on the chart, how many red versus how many green. So any patterns that it finds, it's actually going to give us a definition for. And I bet it does a better job of explaining what an engulfing bearish pattern is than I just did, because I kind of gave a rambling definition. But if I want to read this out to you, it says an engulfing bearish line occurred where a black line's candle's real body completely engulfs the previous white candle's real body. The engulfing bearish pattern is bearish during an uptrend. It signifies that the momentum may be shifting from the bulls to the bears. Okay. If the engulfing bearish pattern occurs during a downtrend, which appears to be the case, it may be the last engulfing bottom, which indicates a possible bullish reversal. The test to see if this is the case is if the next candle closes above the bottom of the current black candle's real body. So if I'm looking at this candle here, what it's saying that I should look for is that the last engulfing? And if a test that I can look at to see if that is the case is I'd want it to close above the previous candle's real body. Okay, so I'd want to see it come up through this candle and close above the body as a test for that. Okay, so all these patterns are defined. Actually, let me give you a couple more examples, and I'll show you kind of what the patterns are. And but let's go back to this falling window. Okay, and I can click on any of these. So if I'm trying to learn about candle patterns, this is great because it identifies. I point to my screen like you can see it, because it points. It's identifying the patterns, but I also have a definition of what's going on the chart. So on this particular bar, we had a black candle. This is bearish because as prices close significantly lower than they opened. And then it goes and does the candle count. That's the same for every candle. A falling window occurred where the bottom of the previous shadow is above the top of the current shadow. This usually implies a continuation of a bearish trend. The two candles preceding the falling window were black. This makes this pattern even more bearish. So there's a lot of kind of stuff that it's doing to kind of analyze this. Not only is it telling us that this is a falling window, okay, it's telling us what that is. This is where the bottom of the previous shadow is above the top of the current shadow. It also is looking at other things to kind of help confirm that. In this case, it's looking at the two candles before that were also black, meaning it's more bearish. Also, there's 3 black candles occurred. So right here, this is the bar that we're looking at. There's 3 black candles in a row. I accidentally clicked off of it, but it's also, you'll notice that it's kind of giving us a pretty good idea of what candles are actually happening on the chart and everything that it sees in terms of the patterns that are built in. And I'll show you a complete list in just a second. Is going to be annotated right here in the commentary and explained to you in really, really good, easy to understand terms. So let me go ahead and show you a list of the patterns. I think that's kind of what I want to talk about with the commentary. With this particular expert advisor, it's identifying all those patterns. I saw software that they were selling out there. It was like $2,000 that just identified patterns, and it's something that's just included with MetaStock. Let me go ahead and I'll show you the list of the patterns that are identified. So I'm going to go to Expert Advisor. I'm going to go to Properties, and you'll see right here, in terms of the symbols, all of these are actually being identified on the chart. So if you kind of look through this, this is kind of a complete list of everything that's there. Okay. If I want to, I can actually come in here and I can actually put an alert on the chart. So if I want to know when there's a chart that I've got open and it has a hanging man or a bearish engulfing or a dark cloud or a dark sky or a doji star, whatever, any of the patterns that are on here, I actually set an alert. And as long as the chart's open, it's actually going to fire off an email. Oh, I can fire off an email if you want, or you can just do a pop-up alert. So, so not only can you get the symbols automatically on the chart, but you can also have it alert you either via email or by just a pop-up alert. So there you go. That's the candlesticks. The other thing I wanted to show you is if there's patterns you want to find on the chart. Out of any of these 31 patterns, one of the things I love about MetaStock is scanning, like the ability to go in and find different ideas in a market and find good opportunities. I run scans every day. But if I wanted to be able to scan for any of these patterns, there's a candle scanner that's in there as well. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the Power Console. I'm going to go to the scanner, and you notice I've been kind of doing some work getting ready for this presentation. But if I just wanted to find those particular patterns, we put in some scanners in here, and you can look for bearish patterns, you can look for bullish patterns. We tried to kind of break them up into kind of the pattern types that they have. The continuation patterns, the doji patterns, and the reversal patterns. Those are all different scans that you can run that'll help you find any charts that have maybe a doji. Maybe you're looking for something that has a doji, or maybe you're looking for something that has a bullish engulfing. If I run this exploration, it's going to find all of the stocks that have a bullish Harami. Actually, let's just run it. Let me go ahead and click on this bullish continuous patterns. I've got a universe selected that would be the Dow Jones Industrials already. I've got the NASDAQ 100, and I've got the S&P 500. So we'll go ahead and start that as an exploration. I'm just looking for bullish patterns right now, and that will include the bullish Harami, the big white candle, the hammer, the long lower shadow, on necklight, and the white candle. So any of those that will actually show up, it's going to kind of come in and give us a list of those. So there you go. That's candlesticks. Again, it's just something that's included with the program. And the reason I like to show that to people is I have literally seen products that charge several $1,000s just to identify and alert to these patterns. It's something that's included. It's one of my favorite experts. I just really like to be able to show you, because for me, the expert advisor is such a good learning tool. You know, we're going to show it more as we talk about Elliott waves, as we talked about the adaptive cycle toolkit that's also in MetaStock. But for me, the exploration is a great way to find opportunities. But if you're new to the market, you want to understand different candle patterns, you can attach them to the chart. It's going to show you the patterns. You can look at the commentary. It's going to explain them to you. Such a cool thing. So, and that's not all it does. Like if you wanted it to explain MACD to you, it could. But it is such a good opportunity. So that exploration is done. If I wanted to, so out of those stocks, we had 284 results, 242 rejects. Here we've got the close price, so we can see without opening up the chart what the close price is. And right now, if I wanted to see any of the stocks that had a bullish Harami, you've got River Labs, you've got Lindendale Base, MGM, Microchip Tech, Paychex, all of those. Right now, if we open up the chart, would have that bullish Harami. Big white candle, hammer, lower. And if it basically a 1 in this column means true, a 0 means false. So the one I sorted all the bullish Haramis to the top, and everything else didn't have that pattern. So if I wanted to find anything that had a hammer, again, I just sorted them all to the top. There's no 1s. Nothing had a hammer so far today. Okay, on this scan at least. Okay. I think that's what I wanted to show you there for the candlesticks. So, and I wish I stuck to time. We'll see if we can do that. I'm gonna try and kind of just highlight what these are, do about 20 minutes on each one of them. And so far, well, with the easiest one, we're doing well. So I'll check here to see if we have any questions. If you do have questions, let them know in the chat, okay? All right, the next one I wanted to show you, and Greg, I promise I'll stop pounding on the desk. The next one I wanted to show you, let's go back to the PowerPoint here, is actually our candlestick, not our candlestick expert, our Elliott wave count one. So right here, I've got a picture of RN Elliott. RN is Ralph Nelson Elliott, 1871 to 1948. He's the father of modern Elliott wave theory. He developed the wave counts that are still used today, and a very, very, a father of technical analysis, really. So here's a picture of him. And let's just talk a little bit, again, we're going to keep a high level. We could talk about, you know, sensitivities. We could talk about lots and lots of stuff, but I want you to know what's available, because the expert will do a pretty good job of teaching you. And if there's anything that you want me to go more detail on, like the Elliott wave principles and that kind of stuff, let me know in the chats. We definitely can kind of do bigger classes on this. But let's talk a little bit about Elliott wave principle. In theory, it's used to identify market cycles, and using market psychology. It breaks down movements into wave patterns. The wave characteristics are designed to show you market psychology. But a lot of times when I'm talking about the market, just to talk generally about wave theory, we all know that the market doesn't go straight from point A to point B. It goes up a little bit, down a little bit, up a little bit, down a little bit, up a little bit. Or if you're in a downtrend, it goes down, maybe not a little bit, but a lot. Or then it goes back up a little bit, goes down some more, up, down. So generally speaking, trading would be a lot easier if it just moved from A to B because you could just buy at A. But generally, there's always that constant battle between the bulls and the bears. And the Elliott wave principle allows us to kind of make sense of kind of a chaotic environment. And the way that he did that was using the concept of waves. So let's talk a little bit about waves. Here's a wave. I just talked about what a wave is. And here's the counts that he would use. So generally, in an uptrend, you've got an up that he'd call a number 1 wave. You've got what he would call a corrective wave, which would be 2. You've got an up wave, which would be called a motive wave, that to number 3, a corrective to 4, and then an up wave into 5. And so 1, 3, and 5, you might have noticed I just called those motive waves, while 2 and 4 I called corrective waves. And that was actually intentional, because that's basically what they're called. Motive waves are designed to push the market in the direction the market is headed, and those will be 1, 3, and 5. The corrective waves are actually I counted them. The interruption waves are kind of those corrections in the middle. So you got a upward move to 1 if you're in a bullish wave, a downward interruption wave to 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. He also labeled what is called corrective waves, which are counter trend waves, which are labeled on the chart as ABC, and those are corrections to the actual motive waves. So there you go. Let me show, in addition to kind of your major waves, inside of waves you'll have what are called minor waves, and those minor waves will actually also appear on the chart. So if you have a really big long-term bullish wave, in that long-term bullish wave you're also going to have minor motive waves that are smaller moves, more corrective moves, and those are labeled the same way. So right here you've got a 1, down to a 2, up to a 3, down to a 4, up to a 5, and so forth. So let's kind of show you what this looks like at a chart. And again, 1, 3, and 5 are your directional waves. 2 and 4 are your correction waves. So let me kind of just show you how this is labeled. And this is actually something that we've been including for a while into MetaStock. It's a massive add-on. We used to sell it as an add-on to MetaStock that was like $300, but we've bought the rights to it and we include it in every version of MetaStock. And I remember when we were selling this as an add-on, I would love to get customers on the phone that were into Elliott Wave. A big program, it's not so big anymore, but a big program that was available to do Elliott Wave counting was a program, actually I don't think I'm going to name it, but it was a program that cost a couple $1,000. And at the time, it's kind of fallen off in popularity, but at the time, it was kind of the one very, very, very popular program. And I just remember loving to talk to people about Elliott waves, because a lot of times what they wanted to be able to do is easily identify the waves, understand where they were, and to be able to scan for kind of, the important waves, the buy signals that would be from Elliott wave. And so let's go ahead, and I'm going to jump over to the stock Meta, and we'll do that real quick. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the Elliott wave template. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this. I'm just I'm right-clicking on an empty part of the chart. I'm going to apply template. And what I'm going to come down here and do is I'm going to go down to the Elliott wave. And it's just labeled Elliott wave in here. And we've got an advanced one. I'm going to go ahead and kind of stay out of the advanced stuff right now. You've got the high volatility, the low volatility, and then the normal volatility. And I'm going to work with the normal volatility. So these are all different views. If you've got a really highly volatile stock, you might want to go with the higher volatility settings versus the lower volatility settings. But for what I'm going to show you today, and just to kind of give you kind of a sampler of it. We could call this a sampler session, maybe. A sampler of it, we're just going to kind of stick with the normal volatility one, or the default settings. So I'm going to go ahead and click, and then that way I can avoid talking about amplitudes and size of waves and stuff like that. I just want to kind of keep things a little bit high level today, just to keep them more interesting. And I will also be the first to admit that I'm not a huge Elliott wave analyst, but this is cool. So let me go ahead and apply it to the chart. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to kind of make sure that I'm loading the maximum number of records so that it can get an accurate count of everything. When you're using Elliott waves, the more data, the better. You're looking for cycles, so you want to be able to really see kind of as much history as possible so that the program can see as much history as possible. You go ahead and click on OK. And to do that, since I'm trying to make sure that this stays informational as well for MetaStock users, to do maximum data, I just double-clicked on here. I went to where it says date request. I just changed that from default to maximum, and that'll load in all the data that's available from the LSEG data feed. So let me go ahead and click on OK. And let me just zoom out a little bit here for you so you can start to get a little bit of a flavor for kind of how this works, okay? And I'm trying to decide on exactly where I want to go, but we'll go right here. So right here we had an A wave, okay? And then if you've been looking at Meta this year, it's had a pretty good year, well, up until July. One of my favorite stocks, up until kind of like it started to go sideways. It was very, very directional until then. But if we're looking at here, it's going to identify the waves for us. You can kind of see, actually, I'm going to zoom in close for a minute. So right here, off of this corrective wave, it identified some smaller waves. Right here, you have a smaller wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are the smaller waves that are being identified. Those are being identified kind of automatically for you. And then your larger waves are going to kind of be a little bit bigger. So you've got 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Okay, so we've just had a full 5 waves counted out on Meta. Okay, and right now with the end of that wave, we're kind of coming into a corrective wave. Okay, if I wanted to go in, obviously with Elliott waves, one of the things that I really like is the commentary. These numbers are automatically drawn for you. But if I wanted to go in and kind of get a better understanding of Elliott waves, I'd go back into that commentary, just like we did with the candlesticks. So what I'm going to come in here and do is I'm going to go to View, Expert Commentary, and there's a bit of a warning actually on here. I actually knew there was a warning. I won't act like I'm surprised. I actually was looking at Meta a little bit earlier today as I was getting ready. But actually, this is why kind of one of the reasons I wanted to kind of show this to you. Elliott wave's normal volatility expert has detected a possible 0.4 of a wolf wave for Meta platform ordinary. This pattern is an expanding triangle and trades from the next point. When the peak or trough will form, usually after the crossing or touching of the extended lines from point 1 to 3, the price will move in the opposite direction towards the target line of the extension points of 1 to 4. The estimated price target is $0. I don't think that's right. I don't think Facebook is going to go to 0, but it's actually identifying. There's actually something that's not actually giving us a right target price, but it normally would. I'm not sure why that is. Actually, let me hit refresh real quick and see if it kind of comes back in. But it is identifying. And if you know what a wolf wave is, it's identifying that on the chart for us. Here it's going to tell us where we're at in different amplitudes. Amplitude is if you measure the peak to the trough, or the trough to the peak. The amplitude is how big of waves it's looking at. So for a fast perspective, it's looking at an 8% move up or down. From a medium or a moderate perspective, it's looking 13%, 21%, and 34%. Okay. For an 8%, it's identifying a bearish wave 1. For a medium, it would be a bullish wave 4. And for a moderate, it's looking for a bullish wave 1. Okay. Meta platform is long-term bullish as the moving average is 279.06 and is increasing. The relative strength index, which is showing up here, and the relative momentum index is 45. It goes down and gives you weekly pivot support resistance. And then it also does give you some information that it warns you is not part of the Elliott waves methodology. But what it's doing today from here is that tomorrow it's projecting a high of about 290.73. Now, since we're in an open bar, you'd want to check this after the market closes or after the hour. But based on kind of what it's looking at, it's projecting a high tomorrow of a possible 290.73, a low of 270.514. The top of the Bollinger Band is at, and the bottom is at. So it just gives you a little bit more information. So and there you go. That's kind of a little bit. Oh, and of course you can scan. So for example, if I want to be able to find those particular patterns, if I want to find stuff, I can come in here and I'm going to open up what we call our Power Console. I'm going to go to one of my favorite tools in the MetaStock, which is this scanner. And what I'm going to do is I'll just do the, instead of the candlestick, I'll search for Elliott wave here. Okay. And you'll notice here that you've got under Elliott waves, this performance systems Elliott is a little bit different. Those aren't part of the Elliott wave. But if I wanted to scan for fast waves, impulse waves, moderate or normal, I could. I could also do slow waves. Okay. If I wanted to find buy signals, that's what this signal scan is right here, the Elliott wave signal scan. And if I hover over it, it's going to tell you what it's looking for, what an Elliott wave buy signal is. So this exploration shows entry signals for the first 3 days on waves 1 and 3 and 5, according to normal, moderate, and slow amplitudes. Columns will show the wave number, where 6 stands for C. For bullish, the pattern number is positive, while if you're in a bearish wave, it's negative. And it also filters out stocks that are less than $1 and have less than 100,000. So to kind of read that to you, I just hovered over it. So you can hover over it too if you want. So I'm going to actually run, and then the normal, I'm going to run that and the signal scan and the normal. Okay. There are some kind of tricky things that you need to know about with the exploration. So I want to actually show you the results. So I'm going to run the scan with it, and I'm going to do that on the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start that. And then I'm going to go back to my slide and show you while it runs what you kind of need to know about the exploration. So here we're scanning for waves. What we're going to see when that scan comes back is if it's a bullish, you're going to get a positive 1 through 6, followed by a dot and a number. Now, the first part of this, 6 in this case, would be, it's a wave C. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be 1, 2 would be A and B waves. 3 and 4 and 5 would be 3, 4, 5. So depending on what number it is before the period, it will give you the wave that you're currently in. The number after the decimal says this has been in a 6 wave or a C wave for 148 days. Days because I ran a daily scan. If you do it on intraday, it'll be 148 hours or whatever in periodicity that you're scanning. So if I'm looking at a scan result, which we're going to do as soon as I swap back into MetaStock, if I'm looking for something that's in a wave 4, and I just come down here to where it says 4, and then I can know how long, how many bars it's been in that. Okay. So let me go ahead and kind of go back in here. Both of those scans are complete. Okay. When I ran the signal scan earlier, there was nothing there. There's still nothing there. Okay. That's no problem. That's why I ran 2 of them. If there was a buy signal for Elliott wave, it would actually list it here. There wasn't in that scan group, but if there was, it would be listed there. Now, if I want to see stuff that's in a bullish wave, let's go ahead and sort it by bullish. Here I've got C6, which would be, 6 would be that corrective wave C. Okay. 5, this is Lululemon has been in a 5 for 147 days. So you've got 5.0147. That's what it's telling you. If I want to see something that's like in wave 4, AMD has been in a wave 4 for 50 days. Wind Resorts has been in a wave 4 for 49 days. Intuitive Surgery has been in a wave 4 for 148. So I think that's what I'm going to show you with regards to Elliott wave. Now, I want to tell you just a couple of things. When we bought the rights to this a few years ago, it was developed by a friend of mine up in Canada. And when we bought the rights for it, it was a massive add-on. There was so much in here in terms of things that you could do with it. Like if you wanted to scan for that wolf flavor that it was finding and that kind of stuff. What we did is included a big part of that, well, what we call a significant portion of that add-on in MetaStock, just as something that you can use for free that's part of the box. Because the add-on was so big, we didn't want to add another extra 300 or 400 indicators to MetaStock. But if you want to, you can. So what I've done here, and Greg, if you'll help me, I'm going to actually put this in the chat. If you put it in the YouTube chat, I'd appreciate that. But right here, this is I'm going to send this into chat real quick. Okay, this is just our updates and patches. And if you come up here, there's tons of cool stuff up here. And stuff that we've kind of created for MetaStock over the years that you may want to use. So a few months ago, I did actually this Ichimoku Kumo exploration that's up here. There's some additional performance systems. This is a commitment of traders. If you do futures and you want to see what the commitment of traders are, I program this too, but it just looks at all the commitment of traders. You can put it up with a bunch of different currencies and it'll show you like all the commitment of trader data. There's some broad market stuff. There's just tons of cool stuff that's up here. But if I come down here to the Alpha Omega Elliott wave, you'll see that it has over 500 indicators, 53 explorations, 27 system tests, 14 different expert advisors, 25 templates. And then, so if you're really into Elliott Wave, I'd go grab this. It's free. You just navigate here on our website and it'll install all of the different functions and tools. If you just kind of want to see where you're at in a wave, you can do that just using kind of the same steps I just used. Here, this will allow you to kind of install, and it's free. You just come up here, grab it. It'll plug into anything that's MetaStock version 17 or later. So, or MetaStock version 17 or late. Let me make a note of that. I'm going to have that fixed later. Okay. All right. Cool. Let's talk about the other one. Yes. Go. Uh-huh. Yeah, actually. Yeah. That's a really good question, Greg. If I wanted to see this in a different contrast format, a lot of people like black, but if you want an easy way, I'm not sure if you just laid me up for a super easy question or not, but if you want an easy way to... I prefer white too. Yeah, is that, and for me, I do prefer white on white backgrounds. So, but yeah, if you want to change, use the color. For me, I can way easier see this one or this 2 and this 3 and this 4 than when it was black. And if you want to change that, you just come up over here. There's a bunch of different themes. We call them themes, but you can actually change the colors. Very, very easy. This was on dark mode. If I want to change that, just click here, and we'll do electric for fun. Or if you find something that you like. Oh. Oh, no problem. No problem. You are forgiven. All right. I'm going to go back to white here. I actually do also prefer white. I just think it's easier to read for me. All right, let's go back in here. And I think we're doing okay. Just to recap the Elliott wave principle, it's used to identify market cycles. It breaks down waves to show the characteristics of different market psychology. There's 8 different kinds of waves, and waves are not patterns. Don't get it confused with like different patterns. waves are not the same thing as patterns. Okay, no questions. So I must be staying this, other than Greg, I must be staying high level enough. And again, I did want to, again, this is some pretty serious stuff, and we could go into much more detail if you wanted to. The last one I want to talk about, and again, this is also included in MetaStock. It's called the Adaptive Cycle Toolkit. It's based on the work of John Ehlers. I got a picture of him coming right up. Uses digital signal processing and is designed to help remove whipsaws and common indicators. This is also a massive toolbox, and we certainly won't be scratching the surface with it, but I want to kind of show you what's in there and kind of what's available. This, just like Elliott Wave, is something that you can spend a lot of time on, and I'll kind of allude to that a little bit as I go. But let's go ahead and go. Here's John Ehlers. John Ehlers wrote Rocket Science for Traders and the Cybernetic Analysis of Stocks and Futures. Huge technician, does a great job. Very, very, very sophisticated trader. His work, and he does call it Rocket Science for Traders, but what he wanted to do was to kind of look at, he looked at the markets as being either trending, cyclical, or sideways. And so all of his work is just based on determining the cycle length of a market, whether you're trending, whether you're sideways. And a lot of the core concepts that, or not a lot of, I'm going to talk about like maybe 2 or 3 indicators in here and show you the templates, but a lot of what he is designed to do is, or a lot of the work that he was designed is to, it's, hold on, let me catch my English back. What he designs his work to do is to determine the cycle length of an indicator, to identify what type of a market you're in, and to remove noise. And a lot of the technology he uses is kind of a lot of similar to the technology used to remove errors from a wave file. So when he's looking at noise reduction, he's looking to kind of eliminate those noisy parts of the market. So I do want to stress that I'm going to talk about 2 different systems in this thing, but it's huge in terms of the stuff that's actually in here. Actually, I'm going to talk about 3 indicators. So all of the indicators in the ACT are designed to be adaptive indicators. So standard indicators automatically, these are, what he did is he took standard indicators and automatically used them to adapt to cycle length. So to determine, instead of using like a 7-period moving average, if you wanted a short moving average, to look at where the peaks and troughs are in the chart and determine that maybe 6 is better for a shorter term moving average. Whereas if you had a less volatile stock, maybe stick that shorter moving average at 15. So all of the indicators, and there's a ton of them in here, are designed to look at cycle length and determine, okay, I should be using this number, and it will change. It'll adapt. It might be a different number, and then if that cycle slows down, it'll slow down the moving average also, or that number that he's using to calculate that to compensate for the extended cycle length. Okay. Cycle period is one of Ehlers' key techniques. The cycle and its length are continuously measured. Instead of using a fixed number, say 8, the calculations will change based on the cycle, and that's why they call them adaptive. Okay. So cycles, here's just a little bit of cycles. Cycles are basically, to kind of boil it down, looks from peak to trough, determines the cycle length, and bases the numbers based on what it's looking at that. The things that go into that measurements are the period length, the frequency, any noise, what he identifies as noise in the market, verticality or the height of the wave, and then the phase, which we're going to go to the next slide real quick. In this, it's a real toolbox. In fact, like when we were initially working with the creators of ACT, one of the things that I wanted to do is hit with just a ton of indicators and DLL functions. And if you're into programming with MetaStock, you can take any indicator you're using and use the technology that they put together, tapping into their DLL to make your indicator that you're working on adaptive, as well as you can make it noise-free as well as if you want. So it was massive. There's 87 custom indicators in here, 50 DLL functions, 8 templates, 8 expert advisors, 6 system tests. The tests on these work really, really well. And then the explorations as well. Okay, and so I just want to show you, because all of these are in MetaStock, and if you're using stochastics and maybe you want to compare that to what an adaptive stochastics would look like. Let me just kind of show you how to kind of put that in there, because a lot of those indicators are just adaptive versions of indicators you're probably already using. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the indicator builder here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down quite a bit and to where we get to ACT. So you got your adaptive CG, your adaptive RVI, Butterworth smoothers, the Homodine cycle period, Instrend. I'm going to talk a little bit of that. Here's a CCI, a filter in RSI, a stochastic. MAMA, the mother of all moving averages, the FAMA. So a lot of momentum, a lot of the indicators that they've actually put in here there's a round, there's CCI. They're designed to be adaptive versions of the indicators you might be using. And it doesn't hurt if you're interested, if you're using some moving averages in there and you want them to see how they compare to the adaptive moving averages. Just go in and play with it. You can just throw it on a chart, compare it side by side to maybe the stochastic that you're using, and see if you like the adaptive stochastic as opposed to like your fixed period stochastic, for example. One of the things that we wanted to work on with them is it's a great toolkit for when they brought it to us. It was a really good toolkit for people that knew a little bit about programming, had indicators that were adaptive. But what I wanted to actually do is make stuff that was very, very useful for people, because a big, huge percentage of our database doesn't create their own systems, which you can do in MetaStock. But I was like, this is some really cool technology. And it is. It's really, really cool technology. But what I want to do is make stuff that people can use that don't want to get into the rocket science side of things and create their own DLLs and that kind of stuff. So what we put together on top of this was some expert advisors, some system tests, and some explorations that you can use. And there's about 8 different expert advisors, there's 6 system tests, and there's 6 explorations. And I can kind of give you an idea of, I just want to kind of give you an idea of a flavor of a couple of those systems well, we're going to go a little bit over it, but we're not going to go too far over. So what I'm going to do here is we'll just use Meta Platform, that's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a template. So I'm going to go to Apply Template here. The one that I want is the ACT, and there's 2 different versions. There's the Mama Fama, no noise, and the Mama Fama. Okay, no noise. Again, no noise looks for noisy cycle periods and it'll keep you out of the market. Whereas the Mama and Fama is a little easier to explain, so I'm going to go with that one right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Apply right here. It's going to change my view quite a bit. You'll notice that we have 2 moving averages on the chart, a longer term one in blue. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see it on the internet. And so Greg can see it. You're welcome, Greg. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do this. Okay. Right here, let me just explain the lines. The red line is what John Ehlers calls the MAMA, okay? And the MAMA stands for the mother of all moving averages. And then the blue line is what he calls the FAMA, which would be the father of all moving averages, okay? There isn't a cycle length to it. Like if I was to kick in here to go to properties, it wouldn't give me a cycle length because that's adaptive. It's a moving, it's a moving average that's designed to be a shorter period moving average. MAMA is designed to be a shorter period moving average that adapts to cycle length. So as our cycle gets is more defined as we're going up, it'll stay tighter to the bars. But as it kind of gets less defined, it'll loosen out. And depending on what those cycles look like, it might be a really fast. It's always going to be fast, but it might be really fast, and then it'll slow down if there's more things. The FAMA is the father moving average. It's the same thing that I just described, except for it's aiming to find a larger cycle length. Okay, so this is the MAMA FAMA system that we built for inclusion with the ACT. And it's a very, very straightforward system. Like the first system you probably learned about was a moving average crossover system, or maybe it was MACD, which is very similar to that, but I'm not going to get into that. A moving average system is the easiest one to explain because you take a short-term moving average and a long-term moving average, okay? And when the short-term moving average crosses above the long-term moving average, you buy the security. Okay, so very, very simple. And this is the same thing. When it crosses back down, since the shorter term is kind of identifying that you might be going into a bearish trend, that's where you'd get the sell signal. So the buy and sell signals are being generated by whether the mother is above the father or whether the father is down below the mother. And the only difference between the mama-fama system and a classic moving average crossover system is the fact that the moving average cycle lengths are not fixed. They're adaptive, okay? So here you can see on the chart, this right here is the difference between the mama and the fama displayed on the scale, okay? And you have the buy and sell signals, okay? If I come into the expert advisor here, if I go to expert commentary, okay, you'll see that we just had a sell signal yesterday on Meta. Yeah, Meta. And if I come back in here, it's just going to kind of give me a bit of an overview. The Mama-Fama strategy is based on the strategies developed by John Ehlers in his book, Rocket Science for Traders. They're developed by John Ehlers and are moving averages that are intended to reduce whipsaws because they use volatility as an adjustment. For more complete understanding, read the book, or the ACT manual is actually really good too. In the case where it's signaling a short yesterday, it's going to say that it's signaling in a short opportunity. If you wanted to do this, you could do a short position. As always, use a protective stop to limit risk in the market. And right now, because the mama is below the fama, it's in a bearish phase. Okay, it's very, very simple strategy. Probably the first strategy you learned when you learn trading strategies. The big difference is it adjusts to cycle length. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you how that what the difference is between the mama and fama when we adapt for noise. So, and I actually haven't looked at this, so let's find out. So I'm going to come back into the ACT, okay, and I'm going to do the mama fama no noise. We'll go ahead and apply that to the chart, okay. And this is kind of the noise measurement, okay. And I'm going to look for a period where right here actually is a really good period. So right here is a good period as well. Let's look at this one. And the reason I can tell that really easily is when the bars go blue, it's got out of the chart because it feels like the noise is too high to be in the trade, okay? So here we bought for the same reason why I bought before on the other template. Actually, let me zoom this in or make this bigger for you. Feed it some food, make it fatter. Here we bought for the exact same reason, right? Let me go ahead and apply. We bought because the mama crossed up above the fama, okay? And we stayed in that trade and we stayed in that trade and we stayed in that trade because a good trend existed. Right here, it started to detect with its noise indicator, the chart was becoming a little bit more noisy. The trend wasn't as well defined, so it got us out of that trade instead of waiting until the sell signal came in here. Okay, so what it tries to identify when you look at the no noise version is it tries to say, okay, well, we're going to buy because the trend is clear. We're above our father of mom moving average. Once it starts to get noisy, which is measured right here, once it starts to get noisy to a point where we don't think there's a good enough trend for us to stay in this trade, we'll exit. So the buy signals will always be the same. Our exits will be a little bit earlier because it's looking at those. And if we look at the most recent example with Meta, okay, here we would have been in for yesterday, but it's detected the noise yesterday. And so it got us out 1 bar earlier or 1 day earlier. Now, the other thing I like about ACT, so there's an inst-trend system. We built about 8 different systems. We included system tests, and consistently when we're running tests, they test very, very well. And with a system tester, if you're not familiar with what that is, that allows you to test different trading methodologies and see how well they work. I'm biased, but I think we have one of the best system testers because you can test however much data you want or however little data you want. You can do any stock you want. You can do up to, I think it's 2,000 or 3,000 stocks at a time. So you can get some really good comprehensive numbers of, yeah, ACT works really well on these particular systems and that kind of stuff. But the ACT systems, there's about 8 of them by default. And now let me just I didn't make a list of them, ACT, but there's momentum, exponential moving average, adaptives. There's a momentum, there's ins trend. And so you can play with those. You can also test them and see how well they work. But consistently, when I'm running tests, ACT systems actually come in really, really good. So play with it if you like it. I like the idea of instead of saying, well, I'm going to use a fixed arbitrary number, I'm going to look at what the cycle is and kind of base it on what the cycle length is. I think that makes a lot of sense for me. And so it's huge. It's just included with MetaStock. 87 custom indicators, 50 DLL functions, 8 templates, 8 experts, system tests, explorations. It's well versed in terms of MetaStock. So there you go. Manual, very detailed, 90 pages manual. It includes primers on the signal processing, the research, how to use adaptive indicators, and even if you want to, what they did when they were programming it, and they did a really, really good job of programming it, was all of the DLLs that they wrote, they made available, which means you can go in and pretty easily define any MetaStock function you want, but using their DLLs. I'm not going to say super easy. You have to have some programming knowledge here, but you can take an indicator you're working on and just make it adaptive using John Ehlers research. And that's very, very cool. So here's Mama Fama. I didn't. Moving average designed to move whipsaws, computed adaptively, known as the cycle's rate of change. Mama, shorter term Fama. So let me kind of just go ahead and we'll just wrap up a little bit today. As I said at the outset, MetaStock's been rated #1 30 years in a row. It's something that we're constantly working on. We're constantly iterating. If you've been with MetaStock for a while, you saw the changes we put in from 17 to 18 with our brand new charting engine. And I just love it. It looks so much prettier and so much more up to date and that kind of stuff. I think you probably saw the changes that we put into 17 and 16. And the last versions of MetaStock have just been increasing. And I say it every time, but the 18 was my favorite upgrade, but before that it was probably 17, and before that it was 16. But I love the new charting engine. I love the commitment of things. Over the years, I've seen a lot of software come into the market. I've seen a lot of software go out of the market. And one of the things I love about MetaStock is, I'll talk about pricing in just a minute, but it's been rated #1 for 30 years in a row. And the thing I love about it is all of this stuff are features that I wanted to highlight because there's things that you might not know about. They're just included. But I think that's also MetaStock as well. I don't think MetaStock's a software you're going to grow out of. As you get better about trading, it's going to get better with you. If you find a new method you want to use in MetaStock or by creating your own indicators, it's going to be able to adapt for that for you. And I think it's for that reason that so many of our traders have been with us for decades and decades and decades. I think it's the same reason we've been rated #1 30 years in a row. So if you haven't tried out MetaStock yet, try it out. We have a couple of different options for you. We have a real-time version of the program. Our real-time version of the program comes with data that's powered by London Stock Exchange Group, which is basically an institutional quality data feed. If you've ever, the data that we get where we get our data from is the same place your bank or brokerage or hedge fund likely gets it. The service that we use to power it is a service that we call Zenith. And just to give you some numbers, they spent $1 billion creating it. If you're interested in news and you have the real-time package, you're going to get the same news at the same time that institutions is. You also get fundamental, you'll get research, you'll get market analysis. And generally, because we only service individuals, we can offer you that same service. And we didn't even talk about that today, at a much lower price than if you'd get a Bloomberg terminal or something like that. So it's $265 a month that includes that billion-dollar product with all the research, the news, the analytics, top of the line. It also includes MetaStock. So we also have an end-of-day version that doesn't include all the news and the real-time data. We call it the MetaStock DC. It's only $69 per month and includes MetaStock and all the data that you need to run it. What we're going to do is, if you're interested in getting that, we're going to give you a 3-month trial on it. So if you pay for a month, we'll give you a second and third month for free. Okay. We're also going to invest quite a bit in you because, like I said just a second ago, a lot of our customers have been with us for decades. What we understand is, if this is a product that helps you make money in the market or find better trades in the market or helps you do better with what you're currently doing, well, then it's going to be a product that you're going to be with us using for decades, like most of our customers. So during that 3-month trial, if you buy a month, so let's say you pay for the first month, we'll give you the second and third month for free. So on MetaStock DC, if you go with our DC version, that's going to be $23 a month to try it for 3 months. And November, December, January 26th is when that would expire if you sign up right now. Okay. So, and I can pretty much assure you, by January 26th, you're going to know if it's going to be helpful for you. You're probably going to have some downtime over the holidays to really kind of get it through its paces. You're going to have some training that we're going to give you. We're going to give you what we call our Unleash the Power of MetaStock, normally $99. We're going to include that for free. One of the things that I always kind of talk about is how good our support is. We're going to actually set you up with somebody in our support team that's going to sit down with you and give you up to 2 hours. They're going to go through, they're going to show you how to do anything you want to do in the program, whether that's scanning, testing, using the expert advisor, whatever it is. They'll give you a little bit of a 2-hour walkthrough. If you ever have questions, you can call us. You can chat with us. They're right there in our Utah-based office, and they do such a good job. And it's unlimited tech support as well. So you can give us a call, 800-882-3040. If you have questions, you can visit us online at metastock.com/saleschat. You can also do that online at metastock.com/3for1. I'd encourage you to give it a try. There's a reason it's been rated #1 for 30 years in a row. There's a reason that most of our customers just stay with us and just keep using it. And I don't think, if it wasn't helping them, I don't think they'd be paying for it for as long as they do. Give it a go. So there you go. I don't see any questions. If you have some questions, there's a few. There's just one other thing that I want to talk about, and this will be fun too. And then we'll close up, and then I'll ask you to like and subscribe to the channel. But every November we do sit down. We put together a conference, and we're just getting this live. There might be a couple of issues that are still exist on the page, but in just about 10 days, November 6th to Monday to November 11th, we're going to be running an event that's huge. It's going to be a great event. I love doing these, although by the end of the week I will be tired, I guarantee. But for 6 days, we're going to come in, we're going to do 43 different market experts. We're going to talk about tips, we're going to talk about strategies, we're going to talk about trader psychology, we're going to talk about taxes. This is free. You can just sign up for free. What you'll do is you go to metastock.com/traders-conference and just sign up. You probably won't be with me for all 43 hours, but we're also, when you register, we'll make sure you have a copy of the recording. We don't charge for the recordings. They're just going to be available for you. So go to metastock.com/traders-conference. If you want to kind of get an idea of who's talking on Monday, we're going to have a good friend of mine, Vince Vora, come in. He's going to talk about his method for trading and measuring SOAP and identifying trend. We're going to have Oscar Carboni, such a good technician, does a great job. We're going to have Raymond Rondo from AAII. We're going to have John Seville, our Canadian buddy, talk about his Acorn. Jake Bernstein is going to come in with Brian Latta. We're going to have Larry McMillan, probably one of the best technicians when it comes to options. Oh, who's that guy? Then we're going to have him. Armo. And we just have days and days of presenters. I think I can kind of go a little bit faster, but like, you can come up here. This is free. And unlike other kinds of things where you kind of have to pay for recordings later on, if you sign up, we'll give you all the YouTube links for all the recordings. It's not something that you have to pay extra for. And I just love this event. Let me type the link out. I'm sure by now Greg has put it in there, but come over to it. It's something that we spend a lot of time on. It's something that isn't going to cost you anything, and it's something that you're going to like, at least parts of it. So in any case, I hope to see you there. If you are joining us, and thank you for watching to the end, make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. It does help a great deal. We do massive conferences with massive experts that talk about really cool ideas. And so we'd love to see you there too. Thanks for coming. Stay healthy, stay well. See you next time.
Hi, Kelly Clement here from MetaStock. Before you go, I have two quick things for you. One, thanks for joining us today. We love having you here at our webinars and viewing our videos. So what I'd like to invite you to do before you go is like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps us a great deal, and it helps us bring you more awesome content like today's video. The second thing is we have a great ebook on trading that you can get for free. If you go to metastock.com/YouTube book, you can get a free copy of The Secrets of Successful Traders. It's a great book with lots of content from traders just like yourself who can teach you some of the secrets that they have learned. Thanks for taking a second with me and learning about those two things. Thanks for joining us, and keep on trading.